How did we get here, where Iran launches an unprecedented attack on Israel? A question that demands a deep dive into a timeline of escalating tensions and events, a cascade of provocations and reactions that have shaped the geopolitical landscape of our times. The backdrop of this conflict, we find ourselves looking back at indirect talks between the United States and Iran. These discussions aim to restore the nuclear deal of 2015, taking place in Doha, Qatar. Yet, they concluded without any significant progress, leaving the international community on tenterhooks, wary of a potential escalation. Iran, meanwhile, was inching closer to a worrying milestone. The country was nearing the quantity of enriched uranium needed for a nuclear bomb. Simultaneously, it was reducing its cooperation with the United Nations nuclear watchdog. These actions made the possibility of military intervention an ever-looming presence on the horizon. Failure of these negotiations could lead to a prolonged stalemate, with the shadows of escalation growing longer and the prospects for a deal diminishing. With elections on the horizon in both countries, the political landscape was becoming more unpredictable and potentially volatile. Adding to the complexity, the regional context had evolved since the nuclear deal of 2015. Most Gulf countries now understood the de-escalatory value of a deal. Meanwhile, geopolitical factors, like the war in Ukraine, were influencing the urgency and dynamics of the US-Iran talks. In the midst of all this, the world witnessed several disturbing events. The death of Al Jazeera, correspondent Shireen Abu Akleh, drones launched towards Israeli settlements, and incidents of gender-based violence in the Middle East were all markers of a region in turmoil. Sequence of events set the stage for Iran's large-scale attack. The geopolitical chessboard was set, the pieces were in motion, and the world watched as the game of power and provocation unfolded. And that's exactly what happened in the latest round of the long-standing conflict between Iran and Israel. Iran launched a large-scale attack, a significant escalation that marked a new chapter in their ongoing dispute. The sheer scale of the attack was unprecedented. Over 300 drones, cruise, and ballistic missiles filled the skies, their deadly intent clear. But in a testament to the resilience and preparedness of the Israeli forces, about half of these menacing machines failed to reach their targets. And the remaining missiles? Well, they found up against a formidable defense. Israel, backed by its allies, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, intercepted the majority of the incoming threats. The defense systems, pushed to their limits, performed exceptionally well, boasting a staggering 99% interception rate. This was a significant escalation in the long-standing conflict between Iran and Israel. In the aftermath of the attack, the world held its breath, waiting for Israel's response. The Israeli government, in a state of high alert, was engaged in intense deliberations about the method of retaliation. Despite the gravity of the situation, there was no uniform consensus. The country was divided, some advocating for a swift, powerful response, while others urged a more measured approach. This internal division is not surprising given the complexity of the situation. Israel is not only dealing with a direct threat, but also with the delicate balancing act of international relations. A swift retaliation could escalate the situation further, potentially leading to a full-blown war. A more measured approach, on the other hand, might be seen as a sign of weakness, possibly emboldening Iran to continue its aggressive actions. In the midst of this intense deliberation, U.S. President Joe Biden reached out to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The message was clear: proceed with caution. The U.S. president advised that America would not support a retaliatory strike, a statement that undoubtedly added another layer of complexity to the already challenging decision-making process. While the world watched and wondered what Israel's next move would be, the nation was busy analyzing the performance of its defense systems. The attack had been a severe test of their capabilities, and they had performed exceptionally well. With a 99% interception rate, Israel's defense systems had proven their worth. But it wasn't just about defending against this attack, it was about preparing for the next one. Discussions were underway about forming an international coalition against Iran, a clear indication that Israel was not planning to face this threat alone. The U.S. played a pivotal role in these discussions, attempting to mediate through Turkey, a nation that has maintained diplomatic relations with both Israel and Iran. While the world waits, Israel prepares, and discussions about a coalition against Iran continue. The stakes are high, and the decisions made in the coming days could shape the course of the Middle East for years to come. Beyond the immediate threat, the attack has had deep impacts on the domestic, religious, and regional fronts. In the heart of Israel, a unique blend of military readiness and religious sentiment has taken hold. As the nation stands on the brink of conflict, there's a palpable sense of unity, a common purpose. In the face of adversity, the Israeli people have strengthened their resolve. Military preparedness is at an all-time high, with citizens and soldiers alike ready to defend their homeland. But it's not just the physical defenses that have been fortified. The spiritual defenses have been bolstered too. There's a profound belief in divine protection amidst conflict, a faith that is deeply embedded in the nation's psyche. This belief is not just a source of comfort, but a powerful motivator, driving the nation forward in these difficult times. Yet, this is not just about Israel and Iran. The specter of conflict looms large over southern Lebanon, where the militant group Hezbollah maintains a strong presence. As Israel grapples with the immediate threat from Iran, it must also prepare for potential conflicts with Hezbollah. This is not a simple two-front war. It's a complex network of alliances and animosities, a delicate balance of power that could be upset at any moment. And it's not just Israel that's affected. The broader region is teetering on the edge of instability. The attack has sent shockwaves through the Middle East, stoking fears and raising questions about the future. Will there be more attacks? How will the international community respond? Can peace be restored? These questions hang in the air, adding to the tension that pervades the region. As the dust settles, the true impact of the attack and how Israel and the world respond will shape the future of Iran